I know there's a bunch of you out there who are introverts because I did a video on introverts a while ago and many of you resonated with it. And let's face it, the world is more geared towards extroverts in general. And I think introverts and extroverts both have their own superpowers, their own useful abilities, but I think the world is geared more towards extroverts in terms of favouring them socially, you know, all these things that are done to put people together all the time, or the way you have to work in offices and business, and there's lots of constant interaction and constant meetings and constant talking and all that stuff. So I want to talk about practical happiness for introverts, especially in the realm of setting up your environment with people. So I'm going to give you 3 ways to practically increase your happiness as an introvert. Number 1 is a piece of advice from polymath and tech editor Kevin Kelly, who says, when you get an invitation to do something in the future, ask yourself, would you accept this if it was scheduled for tomorrow? Not too many promises will pass that immediacy filter. Now, I really like this because I think there's a tendency to assume what our future selves will feel, and we assume certain things won't feel as cumbersome or annoying later on. So if we just overschedule ourselves and say, yeah, I'm gonna come to that, or I wanna do that dinner, or I wanna do that social plan, you'll put it off in a month and it will sound like a good idea. Then it comes around and you think, I overcommitted myself here, I don't actually wanna do this, why did I bother? So it's a good test to say, if this were coming up tomorrow, would I want to do it? Number 2, set yourself a minimum of 2 social events on your calendar per week. I like 2 because I feel like that's an optimum between giving you one on the horizon and then another one to look forward to after that. But you've got plenty of space in between, and you can always book more in if you want. But I find that a minimum of 2 social events a week is really good for your mental state, for your happiness, for keeping you nourished and fulfilled. So just having 2 in the diary, then you know you've always got one coming up next, and we have a certain propensity to enjoy things more when we have something next to look forward to. Number 3, find people who either help you learn, play, or love. So I might call this the LPL model because I don't have a better acronym for it right now, but although we don't want to be utilitarian calculating monsters in thinking about our social time, it does help to think about what you are actually trying to get out of when you have certain people around you and what interactions are going to nourish you the most. And I find I like being around people who help me learn, who I find intellectually stimulating, and I have certain friends who really nourish that part of me. I have friends who I just want to play and mess around and laugh and play video games and just have a good time or go to the movies or whatever. People who just get you in a playful, relaxed mindset. And then love, right? People close to you, your intimate relationships, family members, romantic relationships, people who help you, who bring out the side of you that loves more, or they're just people you want close to you because you love being around them. I find if I think about interactions in that way, not in a very strict model, but it helps me decide, filter, what kind of people I actually want to be around and what kind of social interactions nourish me the most. So learn, play, love. If it doesn't fulfill one of those 3, it might be something you want to skip. And it's funny because I'm sure people watch this and they probably think, well, why do you talk so much about trying to be happy as an introvert? Is it that difficult? Like, is it that hard just to balance a social life and a work life and other stuff? But I feel like a lot of people struggle with this balance all the time, and I think it's especially pronounced for people who find, you know, the classic definition of an introvert is people who find their energy drained from being around people for a long time and they need time alone to top up and become themselves again. I think it is important to consciously think about having those moments of diving into the crowd, having a good time, learning from people, enjoying yourself, and consciously having time to recover again so that you don't get resentful and burnt out. And burnout is one of the worst things you can have in any way, and too much work, too much socializing. So I think it's really helpful. I think extroverts have a slight natural propensity to just roll with it more because they're just fed by being around people. So for them, as long as they've got stuff coming up, it's all great. Like, as they can do as many things as come up on the calendar, and they need a lot less rest or downtime on their own. So I think it's slightly more conscious you have to be as an introvert in planning that out, but I think there's a lot of practical happiness when you get the balance right. Let me know how you square this balance in the comments below, and if you want more videos on stuff about being an introvert, I've got a couple here that I've done before that people seem to have enjoyed, so I hope you do too. And that's it from me, Pickles. I'll see you soon.